Hi everyone, I'm Amanda Healy. Super excited to welcome you to our next Social U class, and I apologize for the late start time. We were just waiting for a handful more of participants to be allowed into the conference bridge. So our professors today are Snow Burns and Christine Needles. We have kind of a nice visual overview to give you of each speaker. So Christine Needles has been on Twitter since before it was cool, and she helped drive CA's earliest social media and blogs. So if you want to take just a quick overview of some interesting professional and personal facts about Christine. Our second presenter, Snow Burns, is a social media marketing manager at CA. She manages our Twitter and LinkedIn, and Christine also manages our Twitter account. She's pretty new to CA, and she has 5 years of social experience. Also enjoys making cheese and brewing beer. So I wanted to remind you that these type of visual profiles are available for all of our social media team members on our CA Facebook account. And with that, I'll let Snow take it off and kick off this call.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us from near and far. And we're going to teach you how to use Twitter in 15 minutes a day, although ironically this presentation is about an hour long. So let's get started. Make Twitter work for you instead of being work. In this presentation, here's just a quick overview. We're going to show you how to make use of free tools to manage and schedule tweets, how to connect and engage with influencers and leads, and how to use Twitter mobile to connect on the go. So keep your questions, send them to Amanda, and we'll be happy to answer them at the end. Why Twitter? Why are you all here today? Presumably many of you have experience with Twitter. Presumably lots of you would like to become more powerful users. If you're not familiar at all with Twitter, that's fine too. We're going to go over some pretty basic concepts. Twitter has become more than just a way to talk about what you had for lunch or talk about what you're wearing today. Social media, Twitter included, is now a powerful communication platform, and communication will always be the heart of selling. The point is, using social media to sell equals increased profits. And below you can see an old sales paradigm with cold calls, qualified leads, and sales demos. And now, these days, social media, including Twitter, is really helping us understand our customers more, engage with them, get educated about them, and increase our visibility. Twitter for sales, 6 reasons. Here are 6 great reasons why you can use Twitter for sales purposes or for any purposes inside CA. You can research companies. You can stay plugged into industry news. You can find the best time to contact your lead because you can definitely watch people's activity on Twitter. You can get feedback on your pitch. You can send out information and see how people feel about it, and it's very easy for people that are talking about the same thing as you are to respond. You can stay connected when customers change jobs. You may not know where they're going, but if you're on their Twitter feed, then you can follow them from place to place. And it helps you be visible and active in your industry, and the more people know about you, the more likely they are to reach out when they need a product that you're offering. So here is what we're going to recommend for how much time to spend on Twitter every day. The first thing takes a 15-minute investment to optimize your Twitter profile. 2, this is daily, the next 4 are daily. Reviewing and replying to tweets takes about 2 minutes a day. Initiating and engaging with tweets takes about 5 minutes a day. And these don't all have to be at the exact same time. They can be whenever you find a free minute during the day. Follow to be followed back. This takes a little bit more time because you need to sort through which users are valuable to follow and who's producing good content, and we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do that. And 5, continue to engage, and this is as time allows. So, you know, maybe you've finished your 15 minutes, but if you have another second or 2, you can spend a little bit more time, but that's only if you have time. So section 1, be the best you, optimizing your Twitter profile. So this is going to tell you exactly how to create that Twitter profile that's really going to make you stand out in your industry. Be the best you. Your avatar is the best representation of you. Take it seriously and make it professional. Here we have an example of an excellent Twitter profile for professional reasons and a, frankly, pretty crappy one. Barack Obama, clearly power social media user, or at least his team is. He has his full name. He has a description of what the purpose of the account, and which tweets are actually from the president, and then it has his address and website, which this is really concise. If somebody were looking for him, there's all the information that they need. Drunk cat ladies, on the other hand, this is not an example of a profile you would want to use as a professional Twitter user. It portrays you in, frankly, a pretty creepy light, and while people who are fellow animal and vodka lovers can easily find you, anybody else who you might want to contact with is probably going to be terrified and run away. So a few things to keep in mind. Optimizing your Twitter profile for your bio. Make sure to complete your bio and include keywords that people would search to find you. My co-professor, Christine Needles, has a really excellently optimized Twitter bio. Comms Pro at CA, she says, lots of keywords that are relevant to what she's doing. Also a few things she's interested in and an additional qualification so that people who are looking for things she's interested in or people who want to find more information about the things she's doing professionally can easily find her. Snow Cone and Burns, on the other hand, like our drunken cat ladies, has several issues with her professional profile. No person in their right mind looking for any of CA's products would ever contact this person. For the record, this is not my true Twitter profile. Okay. As for your background image on Twitter, this changes frequently. Currently, there's a few options you can use, but use any reasonable picture. Twitter itself provides several, and you need to keep up with format changes so that your Twitter profile doesn't look outdated. It's very important to stay current. And share your Twitter profile everywhere. So this includes your email signature, business cards, your blog if you have one, definitely on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, and even submitting it to online Twitter directories can really help you get that exposure that you need. We're not kidding. Social success is about visibility. So, I mean, we're not suggesting necessarily that you tattoo your Twitter handle onto your arm, but that is an option. Okay. So now I'm going to take us through some of the very basic Twitter functions. First one is hashtags, or the pound sign. If you've seen that in tweets, this is what it is. Hashtags are like labels. They immediately group your tweet with any other tweets using the same hashtag. This means you can search for other information on your same topic or jump into a conversation. So here I've selected or searched for in Twitter the hashtag I'm not a fan of. Immediately the tweets that come up are everybody else using I'm not a fan of. And so you can have a conversation with these people, or if you just want to rant, you can see that all of these are grouped into the same category. And hashtags also are good for helping you find search results. I am a dog fanatic, and so this might be something that I would plausibly search for on Twitter, hashtag dogs. And then it brings up not only people who are into dogs, videos who are into dogs, but also the top tweets using the hashtag dog, and then all these cute pictures of dogs. So, okay, the basics, @symbols. @symbols can be used to both reply to a tweet or to mention another Twitter user. An @reply is posted by clicking the reply button on a tweet. A mention is any Twitter update that contains @username anywhere in the body of the tweet. So here we have an example of Lady Gaga and Lindsay Lohan talking about Lindsay Lohan's latest disaster, the movie Liz and Dick. Lady Gaga could, if she just tweeted this tweet without @Lindsay Lohan, this would go out to the entire Twitter sphere. But because she's directing it at Lindsay Lohan, it immediately alerts Lindsay Lohan and is only visible to Lindsay Lohan and Lady Gaga's followers. So it won't come up in a major Twitter search feed. So this is a pretty clear example of how you can have a conversation using @tags, @symbols. Retweets. Retweets are a way to instantly rebroadcast other tweets. You can retweet them as is or rewrite them. Retweets are a great way to give somebody props, so if you see something on Twitter you really like or see somebody you really like to engage with, often an excellent way to get their attention is to retweet their content. Direct messages. This is a way to directly contact a particular follower without your other followers being able to read what you write. So let's say, for instance, here's a recent direct message I sent to my boss, Andrew Spoth. At Andrew Spoth, stop sending me links to baby kittens, 100 is too many. So this is only visible to Andrew. Obviously, this is not something I would send out to my entire Twitter feed. It is limited to 140 characters, but it's a really good way to connect. It's also a good way to connect with somebody professionally. However, they have to be following you in order to send them a direct message. All right, here's some examples of good, bad, and ugly tweets. The first is good, and it is one that we tweeted to post that CA World registration is open. And so has very clear information. It's not cluttered in the beginning. It has a shortened URL to keep the tweet short, and the hashtag CA World, so that anybody searching for CA World can find this tweet and find that registration is indeed open. And then we also tweeted it at CA World 13 so that they know, that Twitter handle knows that we are promoting them and their content. Here is a pretty bad tweet. A Static Day said, so glad I stole a bunch of tea bags and Splenda from work this weekend. Bad for a lot of reasons. One should not be advertising on one's professional feed or frankly anywhere that they're stealing things from work. Lots of problems have arisen in the past that have been pretty heavily publicized about employees tweeting things like this. So really can't recommend both stealing things from work or tweeting about it. Also, this tweet is just going to fall flat. It's not going to attract anybody's attention. So this is really just a broadcast tweet, and as we are professional Twitter users, we want to use hashtags and @mentions to try to engage. This tweet here with the dead Twitter bird, profitseo.com, as you can see, it's just a link and then a ton of hashtags, clearly engineered to come up in a bunch of searches, but really has no message or anything, and that is a tweet that Twitter itself might flag because it's clearly spam. So definitely avoid doing things like this. And above all, keep it classy. Try not to tweet like drunk cat ladies. Tweeting represents your personal brand and reflects on our company as well. Keep it classy. Okay, review and reply. Twitter is a conversation. So when you're using Twitter, these are the sorts of things when I sent you that slide that said how many minutes a day you have to spend, 2 minutes reviewing and replying and 3 minutes engaging or what, I forget exactly what the numbers were, but we'll go back to it at the end. Here is how to check and respond to your direct messages, and keep in mind that this presentation will be available as a resource after. So if you really have questions about where to find things and how to find things, you can always reference it. So here's where you find your direct messages, where your followers are actively reaching out to you, and those are really good things to check because they really increase engagement. And here is where you check and respond to your @mentions and your retweets. So you can see your @mentions are going to be here, and then your retweets you're going to find up here. Twitter is a conversation. For those who retweet you, retweet their tweets. So Twitter is really, as is all social media, about sharing the love. And so if people broadcast your material, it's really considerate and nice and helps build the relationship to broadcast it back. And to remind you, be patient and consistent. Twitter is a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and have 20,000 followers unless they're all robots or bots. You need to patiently build relationships. It's much like it is in the real world. Not everybody's going to want to be your follower, and not everybody's going to want to engage with you. But as long as you're promoting good content and retweeting quality tweets, then you're going to find that your Twitter following will absolutely grow with consistent effort. Initiate and engage. Be proactive. So here's just some quick suggestions about how you can initiate and engage. You can retweet an @CA Inc. tweet. We would love it if you would do that. We would also love it if you would follow us. Retweet 3 people who want to follow you. Tweet twice with links to interesting content, so things that you happen to be reading on the web that you think are really shareable, that are really interesting, or that show something interesting about your personality. Those are absolutely things that would be great to retweet or tweet. Or compliment somebody. So this example here is an example of a compliment in a retweet. So click the link that looks interesting and say, great point, retweet @CA Inc. or at whoever you happen to be retweeting. Follow to be followed back. Use discretion. View your new followers and follow back. Follow 5 to 10 people a day. It takes a little while, and later on we're going to show you some tricks about who you should follow and who you shouldn't. Watch out for bots and junk accounts. Twitter's very aware of junk accounts and bots, and so, I mean, you're judged by the company you keep. So if you're followed by a lot of bots and you're following bots, your account is not going to be as valuable as one that is not. And by the same token, be selective with who you follow back. There's a tool on Twitter that tells you who to follow that often will pull algorithmically from the people you already follow other people that you should then follow. So those are things that would be a really good way to search through and see if there's any that you're interested in. And that's also a good example for who you should start to engage. Here's a little bit of extra credit assignment for you. Follow people who @CA Inc. follows. Join conversations using hashtags. If you're interested in something, try it out. Ask a question with a hashtag or an @ symbol, and respond to relevant questions. And these are just really good ways to engage that won't take very much time. Also, be human. A sense of humor never hurts, and it appeals to 99.9% of the people in the world, so keep that in mind. And here's some tools to use Twitter. Seems a little bit daunting maybe now, but we're going to introduce Hootsuite to you, which will really help you cut down on time and consolidate all of your Twitter efforts. Hootsuite is a tool you can run from your browser or your mobile phone. There's millions and millions of people on Hootsuite, reached by Hootsuite. As you can see, percentage-wise, this is a tool that, I mean, we're recommending it above all other tools as a free way to consolidate your Twitter efforts. So here's just a really brief overview of how to sign up for Hootsuite. It's free, and you can add all of your social networks, not just your Twitter. I know this call is about Twitter, so we'll focus on that. But would you want to put them all in one dashboard? This would be a great way. You can find it at hootsuite.com. To add a social network, you connect with Twitter, and it's very easy. You just go right into Hootsuite, and there's lots of tutorials, so it will take you literally, no time at all. And then after you've added Twitter, you add your stream, and then you can immediately compose Twitter messages right from Hootsuite and send them out. So it takes just seconds. You don't have to go to a different application. And here's an example of the Hootsuite dashboard with all of your information in one place. So up here on the top left is where you compose your message, and you can send it out. And then here's your home feed, all the tweets of the people you're following. Here are all the times that you're mentioned on Twitter. Any direct messages come in here, and then any tweets that you sent. And this dashboard is very customizable, so if there's other things that are important to you, or if there's only you really care about the home feed and sent tweets, then you can customize it to that. It's really up to you. With Hootsuite, here's a great function. You can pre-schedule tweets. So let's say you only have 5 minutes a day to think about tweeting. You have a few things you want to get out there. It's really not a good idea to tweet 5 times in a row at 9:30, 9:31, 9:32, 9:33, 9:34, 9:35. You're not really going to reach the greatest audience by doing that. with this auto schedule function, you can pre-write your tweets and then send them out periodically throughout the day so that at the very least you keep the lights on in your Twitter account. And this is something we do on our corporate Twitter account. And there are definitely tutorials about this out there. So this is a really great function that I recommend everybody use. And as I said, there's tutorials, and you can download them at hootsuite.com or sign up at Hootsuite University and become a pro in no time at all. So one other social tool that's worth mentioning is Clout. Clout is a scoring tool that helps you immediately ascertain which Twitter users are active and engaged and which are not. So here's many members of our social media team. The Clout scores are out of 100. If you go to Clout and search people that are on there, search accounts, you can see what examples of social sites they're on, how active they are. 61 is a decent, respectable score. 57, 53 are respectable scores. Our newest team member, Kim Kardashian, is a really power social user, so clearly she's doing better than we are. We all aspire to be like her. So go to clout.com if you're wondering about how active users you might want to follow are. It's a really quick way to kind of separate sheep from goats. So I think with that, I am going to pass this presentation over to my co-presenter, Christine Needles. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to take them at the end.
Thanks, Snow, so much, and thanks for that great overview of just the basics of Twitter. I'm so excited to be able to share some insights with this group, and that we have such a great turnout for this social use session. I've been doing Twitter activities for CA since I joined the company in 2008, and it's just been amazing to see the change and the growth and interest in helping us get out there and evangelize our great efforts and to engage in conversations with all kinds of influencers, including customers and partners and all kinds of types out there on Twitter. And actually, there are a lot more people on Twitter than I'm even surprised to find some folks on Twitter. So thank you, everyone, for coming. One of the things that we wanted to cover in this session is the value that Twitter brings for those of us that are on the go. One of the great things about our new social mobile world is that you don't have to stay chained to your laptop or your desktop computer in order to participate in social media. In fact, a lot of folks are doing a lot more with social while they're on the road and while they're on the move. So we wanted to show you some tools that will enable you to be successful in using Twitter while you're on the go. So let me just start by saying everyone has their favorite platform. And the good news is that there are Twitter apps for all platforms. And I'm sure I'm forgetting an important international mobile platform here. But these are the ones that are, most commonly brought up. We have plenty of folks that are still on BlackBerry. I've got one. Of course, iPhone, Android, Windows Mobile, and many others. So the good news is that no matter what your device of choice or the one you're stuck with still, there's certainly an app out there for you to help you be successful on the go. Where I wanted to start actually is, Twitter has itself developed a great app, and they've done a lot of advancement with their app in terms of making it useful and more powerful. When it first came out, it wasn't the most handy of all Twitter apps, but they've done some huge improvements, and actually it's really, really easy. You can see here with the screenshot on the left, on an iPhone, this is what it looks like, and literally there's a sign-in button, and it couldn't be easier. You sign in with your handle or your email address and your password, and you're good to go. Again, very easy to send out a new tweet while you're on the move, if you're at an event or with, meeting with partners and have something interesting to share. So very easy to use. One of the apps that, again, we're kind of sounding like we're advertising for Hootsuite here today, but Hootsuite has done a very nice job of integrating their desktop application with their mobile applications. On my iPhone, I actually prefer to use the Hootsuite mobile app. For someone like myself, where I manage multiple Twitter accounts, Hootsuite has a lot of really powerful tools that enable me to leverage the content that I've already set up in the Hootsuite desktop dashboard. So here you can see on the left that I've got the CA Inc. Twitter account, I've got the cloud feed. I'm easily able to do hashtag searches and pull up results. So this Hootsuite mobile app is actually a really powerful tool. Again, for anyone that happens to have a couple of accounts, and perhaps you're posting to Facebook and Twitter, and you don't necessarily want to have all of your messages go all the time across your various social profiles, but in some cases you do. This image on the left here where it says compose, this shows you that you can actually select which account to send a new tweet from within the Hootsuite mobile app, so that's very helpful. And I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot on the right of what it looks like when you actually click into a tweet. It's very easy to reply to the person, to retweet the content, or to favorite it. So again, the Hootsuite mobile app, really simple, easy to use, and a powerful tool. But again, you know, there are many apps out there. Certainly the Twitter native app and the Hootsuite app are not the only ones. In doing a little research ahead of this conversation, I did see a lot of great reviews of the Plume app for Android devices, so if you're an Android fan, that might be one to look into. On my BlackBerry, as I mentioned, I have both. On my BlackBerry, I actually use Uber Social. I've found that that's a really handy, easy-to-use app on the BlackBerry. And then there are a lot of people who are huge fans of TweetDeck, which conveniently, Twitter acquired TweetDeck. So that's another app that you could take a look at. Again, it's all about your personal preference and what you find works for you. But in terms of my experience, I've found that Hootsuite and the native app, the Twitter app, are the best go-to apps to use. So I talked about being on the go, and actually one of the ways that we suggest and encourage folks to start to build a following and build their credibility around certain subject matter is to live tweet from events. And you're seeing this more and more as companies start to want to engage more with their audience. You'll actually see posted on big signs or up on the stage for keynotes, Twitter streams that are showing live commentary from the audience as the speaker continues to speak. So this is a really great opportunity to build a following, to find people that you might want to follow, to engage with other people on subjects that are interesting to you or that are important to CA and the subjects that you cover within your job at CA. So here's some really easy tips to be successful live tweeting at events. The first thing and the most important thing is to make sure that you're engaging in the right conversation. Go to the show site or the conference site or search for an event hashtag. And sometimes events don't post a hashtag, so you might need to go and do a little bit of guesswork online on Twitter search to figure out what the event hashtag is. Right now, the Amazon reInvent show is going on in Las Vegas. And they didn't post a hashtag, but there's naturally been a couple of different hashtags that have cropped up that people are using. So it's usually pretty easy to figure out once you do a quick search. You don't need to just wait until you show up at the event to tweet about it. Go ahead and tweet and say, hey, I'm attending, Amazon reInvent, and looking forward to seeing you there or whatever. Come up with little ways to engage with people ahead of time. In terms of content to find at the show, the best thing is to attend keynotes and sessions, to take little notes about things that pique your interest or interesting quotes that a speaker has said. Make sure you include that hashtag in your tweet so that your tweet will show up in those search results. And again, follow others, retweet others' interesting content. And this is a really great way to engage and to start to build your following at events. So that kind of covers the mobile on the go stuff, but I did want to cover a few random quirks, that often come up that people may not know about. And this is, again, stuff that you sort of just pick up on over time, and there's no real manual or handbook. It's just stuff you kind of learn. One of the weird things, and Snow touched upon this a little earlier in the basics discussion, if you start a tweet with someone's @name, with their handle name, the only people who are going to see the tweet are, within their stream, are people who follow both of you. So if I'm having a conversation with Snow, people who follow both of us will get a chance to see that. And that way, if both of our sets of followers have something they want to chime in on our conversation, they can do so. But I would caution against starting tweets with someone's @name if you're not intending to have a conversation with them. So a good example is a lot of times folks will start tweets with @CA Inc. And that's fine, but unfortunately that means that only shared followers are going to see that particular tweet. So a good way to get around this is to, number one, rewrite the tweet. So you could say, new post by so-and-so instead of saying, @so-and-so wrote a new post about XYZ. And actually, there's just a really interesting and easy technical thing you can do, which is add a period or an apostrophe mark ahead of the @ symbol, and that will actually make it so that it shows up in the general tweet stream. So it's definitely kind of a more nuanced thing, but I think it's an important one to share because people don't often know that. Another thing that I wanted to share that I actually encountered back around the CA world last time with the CA Cloud feed is that we have a very, very strong spam filter, which I certainly appreciate because that means less spam reaches my inbox, and that makes it easier for me to manage my email. But one of the things that Twitter does to identify spam accounts is if they can't reach you by your email address for a certain number of times, if they get bounce backs or if they're not reaching you and you're not responding for some reason, they could mark you as a spammer. And the negative to that is your tweets will not show up in search results. So all that hard work of, including hashtags on topics and trying to be found in search, that basically goes for naught because you're not showing up. So the best thing I can suggest is to use a personal email address or to create a separate Gmail account address or some other free mail address to be able to manage your Twitter mail, or, of course, to go into your Postini account and just make sure that the Twitter emails are marked as whitelisted to be able to come into your inbox. And the last little item on this slide here is just there's a lot of junk stuff that ends up on Twitter from time to time, and a lot of that content comes through in direct messages. So if you receive a direct message from someone that looks odd and includes a link and says something like, "Who's posting, these pictures about you?" Please trust me when I say, do not click on it. You will regret it. So if you receive a direct message that looks suspect, it probably is. I also wanted to just share some hashtag tips because this is, again, for those power users as you're trying to be found and engage in conversations. We just want to make sure that everyone understands how the hashtags work. Obviously, with 140 characters in a tweet, you want to keep your hashtags as short as possible so that they don't take up too many characters, especially if it's for an event or an activity where you want things to stuff to all show up in search results together. Keeping it short and sweet and easily recognizable makes it a lot easier for users to be able to have real content in the tweet, not just a long hashtag. One thing I've read, and this is many of us find this even within CA, and that is that using a lot of acronyms may be confusing to people and may not give them much incentive to go and find out what you're talking about. Now, there are some acronyms that are generally accepted acronyms that people in your industry or in your particular technology segment all know, like ITIL. People know what that is. So, those are okay, but just be mindful that a bunch of acronyms might be meaningless to most people, so just be mindful of that. Another thing to be mindful of is that punctuation marks actually stop the tweet or stop the hashtag short. So if you use a period mark or an underline mark, all you're going to get is whatever appeared up until that point. So again, just be mindful of that if you want to say "you rock," just say "you rock" without any space or any punctuation in between the two words. The other thing is that you need to have space ahead of the hashtag symbol. So the first example, hashtag success versus hashtag #fail. So just be mindful of that. And then the last thing, and Snow actually showed a really good example on the good, bad, and ugly slide, where hashtags can be distracting and can look like spam. So just, again, be mindful of how many you're using and what you're trying to achieve by using them. You know, a couple makes sense depending upon who you're trying to engage with in terms of your audience, but you know, how many hashtags are too many in a single tweet? There isn't an exact answer, but I can tell you that's too many in the example on the slide. As we wrap up, and we'll be taking questions, and I'm very excited to see we have about 15 minutes left of the call to be able to take questions. Just a couple friendly reminders. We have a brand new updated page on 1CA within the marketing department pages called the status update. This is a really great place to find information about what we're doing in social media. So I encourage everyone to check there. You can see how we're tracking in terms of keyword searches. You can find content and different interesting information there. You can learn more about our social strategy there. So really excited to see the social media marketing team did a great job in updating that page. So please check that out. We also have a chatter group where we share a ton of content as well as a lot of interesting insights and information about the social media world. It's called Social Enterprise at CA Technologies, and I think Amanda actually posted a link to it in the WebEx. But it's really easy to find if you just search on Social Enterprise at CA Technologies and Chatter. We encourage everyone to join that group and share information, share content. It's a really great way for us to engage as a team and to, you know, find content that we might want to share on Twitter. The other question that comes up from time to time is, you know, of course, everyone across the business is interested in leveraging Twitter for professional purposes, including developing new CA branded accounts, and we just ask that you please reach out to us. I realize it's as easy as going online and seeing if a handle is available and inputting a new password and email address to start an account, but we ask that you please come to us first so we can talk through the strategy, talk through how we can help manage it and that sort of thing. And the best way to contact the team is at socialmedia@ca.com. And just a reminder, 15 minutes a day, and Snow said at the start that this is a marathon, not a sprint, and I can tell you, having been on Twitter since before it was cool, it does take some time to build a following. Don't get discouraged. There are many opportunities, and as you start to dabble and learn more and take advantage of these tools and techniques and tips that we've shared today, we're very confident that we'll all have success with Twitter. And I think that wraps it up.